Hey everyone, it's Fotini. Welcome back to Fotini Stampin' Spot and another quick tutorial. Today I'm making this really simple actually thank you card for a special someone, and I wanted to use the copper embossing powder, and this is Tranquil Tide, that color that we're using, which is not something that I've used often, and I just got in the mail some happy mail from a very special person, my upline leader, and I figured what a great way to show her that I'm thankful for her by making her a special thank you card, and we're going to use this great stamp set right here. So that's called Thankful Thoughts. We're also going to use Avant Garden, and we're going to use this pretty almost watercolorish looking flower as a backdrop. So I already have my stamps ready to go, and we have some pieces to cut on the Big Shot, and some pieces will get cut kind of both at the same time. So we're going to cut this first piece here, which is the scalloped square. If you've not gotten this yet, or if you've decided try to figure out what's good to purchase or not to purchase, I have to tell you, all of our layering shapes are squares. This is our square one. Look at all the squares that you get, scalloped and straight edged. Our circles are ovals and hearts, and is that all the shapes that we have active now? I think that's it. We used to have a star. They're just basic shapes that you just can do tons of different things with. This is also, we're going to use, this is our stitched shape framelits. We're going to use the square in this, but this set also comes in oval, circle, and square. I think 3 or 4 sizes of each one. So these are great investments if you're thinking of what dies to buy to use with your Big Shot. Definitely invest in the shapes, because you always use them for these great backgrounds and tags and labels. So let me move this out of the way so we can kind of get going here. So what I'm going to do is, I have a piece of scrap here, and I want to get my Tranquil Tide, because I'm going to stamp my sentiment so that we can cut it out. And these are super juicy. So I have my sentiment, and this is actually a nice big block. This is an E block. If you're trying to decide what kind of a block to get, because you're just starting out and trying to, get things that you can use, this is a nice big size block. As you can see, it's as big as the stamp pad. So you can do long stamps, smaller stamps, and of course bigger stamps. As long as it's on that block, this is a nice versatile one to have, as well as the D block also. So we have it inked up pretty good. I'm trying to stay in camera here. And we're just going to kind of go right down in the center, push down, and just lift right up. Super easy. So we're going to run this through the Big Shot so we can get the Big Shot stuff out of the way. So let me just bring that forward. And we're going to put the stitched one right over this, right here. And I'll move it in a second when I start to run it through. And I also have a piece, you know what, let me turn it sideways, you might be able to see better. Okay. And then I also have a piece of the Tranquil Tide. I'll just cut out the scrap here so it can fit. And we're going to cut that in the scalloped, because we only need a little piece right there. And the scalloped is one size larger than the one that we're cutting in very vanilla. All right, everybody, let's go. So this is going to come together super fast once we do all the stamping. So we're just putting our 2 plates on top, or our magnetic platform, our clear piece, our stamps and our die and paper, and then our top piece. So, okay, there we go. And that should be fine. And what we'll get is these beautiful shapes. Isn't that so pretty? And they layer right on top of each other just like that. So that's all we needed for that. Let's move this stuff out of the way. So we're done with the Big Shot. Really great investment. It is probably the priciest thing in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, but it does, I'm telling you, once you buy one, you will use it practically every single time you want to make a card because it's so versatile. There are tons of die cuts and thinlits that you can cut out and make so many different things, and it just gives a nice element to any card making or crafting that you're doing. So it is an investment. I totally understand that. But think of it this way. Any order placed over $150 at my online shopping store, you will become your own host. So I know the Big Shot is like at $110, but if you get yourself a stamp set and maybe a block, you're like right there, and you can even get some free things. So let's finish this card. So I wanted to show you how we're going to cut this card because it's different, a little different than my other cards that I do. So this is an 8.5 by 11 tranquil tide piece that we're going to cut it the long way. So we're going to cut it along we're going to cut it along the short way. It's going to flip open the long way. So we're going to cut it at 4 1/4 because that side of the paper is 8.5, and we're just going to go right down the middle. So now we can make 2 card bases. Okay. Then we're going to turn this sideways and use our scoring tool and score it at 5.5. I'm sorry, I keep knocking into that camera. And the reason we scored at 5.5 is because the card is 11.5 inches long. So just a little bit of math, nothing too crazy. And the other thing we're going to do, I almost forgot, is I need to cut a strip of 3 by 5. So I'm going to go right here and cut down a 3. Yep, and then we're going to cut it by 5, and this is going to be that front panel that we're going to stamp on. Oop, I lied. Let me correct myself. 3 and 5.5. So I think this is 5.5. This is 6. Okay, 3 by 5.5. It's going to be that front panel, and we'll just use the other panel, which should have been at 5.5 also. We'll just use that for the inside to write our sentiment. Okay, so we folded our card. It's ready to go. We're going to do the stamping, and that is going to take the 5.5 by 3 and get a piece of scrap paper because you're going to need to stamp off. Grab mine. So we're just going to stamp off. I have my stamp ready to go. Where is it? I had it ready to go. Here it is. All right. I'm sorry. I feel like very lopsided today. I don't know what it is. Oh, my camera's sideways. That's why. I was wondering why everything felt so funny. Sorry about that. Let's get you guys right into the center. There we go. Okay. So we're going to use, again, our Tranquil Tide, and we're using this really pretty flower piece, and we're really going to try and focus the stamp on the right hand side of the paper, okay? And we're also then going to stamp again on top with some copper embossing powder. So use your creativity here. You can stamp it any direction. You can turn your stamp around however you think you want it to be. This is your chance to be, you know, carefree. Okay, so that's one image. I actually had stamped off and just kind of filled in and just wherever, just filled in between. And the reason I did that was because I felt I was going to come back. Okay, and I'm going to just clean my stamp because my next step I'm going to use the embossing powder, and I don't want it to be dirtied. Super easy. This is our Stampin' Scrub. You just scrub on one side, dry it on the other side, and it cleans your stamp really nice. Okay, so now when you do dry embossing, it's helpful. You don't have to, but it's helpful to have an embossing buddy, which is this little thing right here. Hope you guys can see that. Sorry if I was off camera. And you're just going to kind of go rub it along. And what this is going to do is going to prevent static. So wherever you stamp using the Versamark stamp pad, this is going to be clear. It's going to give a watercolor mark. That's going to allow the powder to stick to it. Okay, the embossing buddy allows the powder to stick only to where you're stamping. So basically what I did again was kind of lined up my dark flower, especially with these clear photopolymer stamps, super easy to do. You could just see exactly right through it. Now this one was upside down. And I'm going to, it doesn't need to be exact, again, because we want the color to show, but I'm just kind of getting to where it needs to be, and then I twist it a little bit so it's a little off. And then here's the last one. So almost layering, kind of, if you think about it. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get out the heat tool. I'm going to heat it up, kind of get it going, because it always melts better when it's already kind of hot. Just while that's getting set, put the other stuff away. And to find my powder, there we go. I'm going to just flip this over. This is just a bunch of nonsense, scratch paper. I'm going to get my powder ready, and the Versamark allows a little extra time to get the powder on there, so it doesn't completely dry right away. Okay. All right. I think that looks okay. And I'm going to put all this right back in here. And we're going to just heat this up. Just lower your volume because this gets a little loud. Oop. You see how that changes? It's really quite cool. Awesome. And that's that. So now all we gotta do is put our card together. So give this just a second because it's a little hot. We're gonna just flip this over. I'm gonna put some snail actually on all sides because it was heated. It does get a little wacky. It gets kind of warped a little bit. Okay. Of course, it would help if I didn't have embossing powder everywhere. I'm going to line it up onto my card, allowing some of that green to shine through on either side. And it is going to be flush on the top and the bottom. Okay. And that's fine because that's how I designed it. And then we're going to take our thank you. We're going to take our snail and do the same. Apply that on. And depending on which square, which scallop shape you use, because there are several sizes, you can make it with more of a border or less. This is just a smidge of a border around. But if you went up one more level than this one, you would have had more of a border showing through. I just wanted a little bit of a border. So, and we're going to just use some dimensionals, which I have some scrap pieces here. I'm going to put them on the back of this just to pop it up, because it always looks better, I think, when it's popped up. And don't forget to use your edges of your dimensionals. Don't throw those out. And dimensionals are great because there's like 400 actual dimensional pieces, not to mention all the side pieces, which I don't think are counted upon, right? And we now even have mini dimensionals, which is like half the size. So we're just going to pop this up. We're going to adhere it right here. And we have the front of our card. The only other thing I'm going to do is, because the card is green, or tranquil tide anyway, it's a little hard to write the sentiment on the inside, so I just have that other piece of Very Vanilla to write my sentiment on the inside. And there you have it, everybody. A really easy and quick card using some copper embossing powder. Hope you guys really enjoyed this quick video. If you did, select like, and don't forget to subscribe, and you will see my future videos as they get posted. And any information on the materials used on this card will be in the description link below, and there will be a blog post that will take you right to my blog. Thanks so much, guys. See you guys on the next video.